short film that I wrote, directed, and produced. So today I will be speaking about the production process, and then at the end we will have the showing of the film. So, my name is McKenna Monger, if you don't know me. I'm 14 years old, and I'm a freshman at Orono High School. And I'm not only here today to show off what I've created, but I'm also here to inform and inspire this community about the topic of cyberbullying. So there was multiple people involved with my film. So if you were involved with any way, can you please stand? We got Sienna and Hannah and Janine. So thank you all for coming. So I'm going to start off with a little bit of background on what a Silver Award is, because that is the reason why I made this project. So a Silver Award is the second highest award that a Girl Scout can earn. It's an optional project that must be completed in middle school, so 6th to 8th grade, which is also known as the cadet years in Girl Scout language. So you must complete your Bronze Award prior to doing your Silver Award, and the Bronze Award you do with your whole troop. So a troop is the collection of Girl Scouts that all meet together and we do fun things. And so I did my Bronze Award when I was in 4th grade or something. We just got it over with. And then after your Silver Award, you are eligible to complete your Gold Award. So I am planning on doing something for a Gold Award in the future, which I'm really excited about. So the requirements for your Silver Award. It must be a project that solves an issue in your community by creating a feasible and sustainable solution. So there are many rules and requirements to achieve this. So for example, I had to work on it for at least 50 hours, and I had to display active leadership while completing my project. So along with that, there's a bunch of other rules in the rule book, and yeah, it's all working towards just a project that makes a difference. So Permanent Words is the title of the short film that I produced. It's roughly 12 minutes in length, and it depicts a very impactful message about cyberbullying. And it tells the story of a young girl named Harper who is being cyberbullied, and how hurtful words sent to her are carried through every aspect of her life. And so basically it also highlights everyone around her. So it's not only a story about the specific girl that is being impacted by cyberbullying, but it's also about her friends, family, and acquaintances that she runs into. So it took me $300 and 113 hours to produce this film, which is a lot over the requirement. So I'm going to talk more about the process. So the first component of a Silver Award is that it has to be a current and important problem in your community. So because I'm a student, I'm oh, bullying, that's a good topic, right? So I chose bullying, but I wanted to be a little bit more original. So I did cyberbullying because I also found out that greater than 60% of teens have experienced online bullying in some way, shape, or form. And furthermore, cyberbullying specifically increases suicide attempts by 8.7%. So after I decided on the topic that I was going to do, I needed to choose a project. So I have a large passion for performing arts, which a lot of people know that are here. And during 6th grade, I was specifically very interested in film. So I don't exactly share that same passion after doing an entire film, but that's what I liked in 6th grade, so that's what my project is. And the idea of a short film was not only inspiring, but it also fit the requirement that it needs to be a sustainable solution. And the short film is, once posted on YouTube, it's able to reach anyone in the world for many years to come. So that fits really nicely. Another requirement of the Silver Award is you have to find an advisor. So, an advisor is an expert on something related to your project. So, my advisor was Leah Shanks, and she is the Orono Middle School counselor, and she was very, very helpful with my project. She actually couldn't make it today, but she was very qualified to be my advisor because she knows endless things about bullying and cyberbullying because she spends her days talking to middle schoolers, and also she went to school for that, as well as she has a passion for creative arts. So she likes musicals and movies and things, and so it was a perfect fit because she could help me with the creative portion and the informational portion of my project. And additionally, between talking to her, I also had to complete my own research. And a little fun fact is that the story that my short film portrays is actually based on 3 real-life stories that I found on the internet. So I think that that's really cool that it's really based on truth. And so, yeah. And after I knew a lot about cyberbullying, I began creating a storyboard, and that was my first draft. And I ended up making many, many drafts. And I had 9 editors, which is a lot if you have not edited something. And so everyone who edited is listed on the screen. Thank you guys. And I wrote for 8 hours, which is also a lot because it's a lot of sitting there like focusing on that one topic. So there was a lot of prep work necessary for this film and making my ideas come to life. So after I had written it, I was like, okay, what props do I need? What things do I have to create? So I needed to run auditions. I had to handwrite approximately 300 words onto a bodysuit, which is actually out there on the table if any of you guys are interested in looking closer at that. I had to gather my props and equipment, and so that spent a lot of time researching on the internet, like what's the best sound system to be able to record and like merge it with your video. And then I had to construct like this metaphorical box that could fit a person inside, which turned out to be harder than I thought it was gonna be. But you guys will know what that means eventually. So the preparation step was one of the longest ones, and it took 35 hours in recorded time. So, yeah. Now for filming. So we filmed the entire movie in 2 days, plus a little bit on one more day. So we spent a total of 12 and a half hours on set. And since I had worked hard to prep everything ahead of time, I was hoping that we'd be able to stick to this like really tight schedule that was very stressful, but we ended up making it work. And we did have a lot of hiccups. For example, the first day we were filming scene number 1, and I'm working one-on-one with Olivia Lampert, and I had like no clue how to use the camera. So I was like trying to film, and it's in a dark room, and I didn't know what was going on, and the camera wasn't working, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be a disaster. So yeah, and then after day 1, I was like, I got it fixed. Day 2, filmed from like 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and it went great. And on the second day, which was Saturday, it was really hot outside. And we had not 2, not 3, but 4 people in full body suits. And they were at the park in the middle of July. And so props to them for pushing through because I didn't really like think that part through, but yeah, they were very like forgiving of that choice. So I will give you guys a second to look at our filming timeline. Yeah. So on Saturday night, which was day 2, I watched back like a couple of the videos that I took, and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't put blindfolds on the coach during the coach scenes, which is a big problem after you watch the video because it's like a metaphor that's like throughout the whole thing, and it was missing. So I was like texting the group chat, and I'm like, guys, I need you guys to come back. And thankfully, Sunday morning, we were able to do the unscheduled retake of all those scenes. So yeah, that was a big relief. And then these are some pictures that were taken just while we were filming. Yeah, we've got some silly ones down there that are from the camera that we filmed on, because when you put a bunch of theater kids in front of a camera, like a lot of fun stuff happens. And it was fun to watch all those back. So yeah, here's some more pictures. Yeah, we got to play some games, I guess. We had a lot of laughs, and it was like a super fun filming day. So yeah, so now we will talk about the editing. Woo! When I tell you editing, this was like the worst thing in the world. Like, I'm not joking. Like, there's a reason why I'm having my event now and not last summer, because everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. So, like, I've edited lots of films, especially like 6th and 7th grade, because I was like, yay, filming! So I knew how to edit, but like nothing could have prepared me for like how hard it was to go through like 100 takes of like different scenes that were like not professionally done, so they're like really hard to sort through, and then putting them into the editing software, and the editing software crashed like every few hours, and it was just like a nightmare. But I got it done, and now I can like say that I have a short film, so that's why I've been bragging about it a lot, because the process that got me there was like so tough. But this part had the biggest score of all for time. I spent 46 and a half hours editing this film, and about 15 of those hours were just finding music, because music isn't free, and so I was trying my very hardest to find some free music, and it did not really work out. So yeah. So just to go back to that like timeline feel real quick, I did all the research and writing in like 2019 and like 2020, and then in 2021, in that summer, we did the filming, and then I finished editing this summer. So yeah, it was a very long time. So now we are going to meet the cast. And so we have Hannah Beebis is up first, and she leads the film as our main character, Harper, who is the target of the cyberbullying. Hannah is 15 years old, and she is a sophomore at Wayzata High School. And she is super cool because she spent the 12 hours filming with us during the day, and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, she had shows for Wizard of Oz, which was like, that's really cool to be able to like act all day and then go and do a show. Like, theater kids out there, you guys know how hard that is. So yeah, cool. Good for you, Hannah. So Olivia Lampert is our next person. She plays Lexi, who is the bully. And Olivia is also 15 years old and a sophomore at Wayzata High School. And she was so much fun on set. There was like so many like outtakes and pictures and like little videos of her like lighting up the room with like a joke or like just being funny, and yeah, so that was pretty fun. And then Sienna Stethor was our bystander, woo! And she was a word shadow. But Sienna is 14 and a freshman at Orono High School. And I've known Sienna probably like the longest out of these girls, and I got to see like a whole other side of her those 3 days, because she liked to leave me little like Easter eggs in like the audio track, of her like whispering really intensely or like singing, because she was often in charge of audio. So yeah. And Janine Gagnon is Harper's mom. So I know Janine because she's the vocal director at Blue Water Theater, which is where I do my shows. And it was really fun doing this because I got to be the director, and I got to like be like, hey, do that differently, you know? And so I thought that was like really fun. And then Catherine Springmeyer was our alternate word shadow during the bystander scenes. And Catherine is 14 and a freshman at Orono High School. And she actually created our first blooper. And that was when she pushed the phone off the bench, accidentally. Yeah, so, and then Todd Monger played the soccer coach. A fun fact is that he's my dad. And I think that this role was just like a good example of how supportive he is of like all of my endeavors, because I was like, I need a coach, and he was like, I can do it. I've acted before. I'm a guy that knows like soccer-ish. So there he was on set being the soccer coach, and he did a great job of it at it. So yeah, that's our wonderful cast. And the final thing before we get to watch the movie is metaphors, because this is actually a very big part of the movie. So one general tip is that the metaphors are black. They're pretty easy to catch if you look for them. So one of them is a black bodysuit, which those are the word shadows. So quick rewind right here. Black basically means that the characters don't like see them. They're like, the black is standing in for something that the character is like emotionally going through or feeling or like experiencing. So the black is like objects and stuff, they're so that the audience can like connect on a personal level to something that's like not on the surface. And so the word shadows represent the physical and mental toll of cyberbullying. So you'll see there's two word shadows, and they follow Harper around after she begins to be more and more affected by the cyberbullying. And they push her around, and they they just infect her life and make everything so much more difficult. And they also write words on her, which are basically like all the hurtful things said to her, she's like carrying them with her. And she like can't escape, because after you've been told some like really negative things, like obviously you can't just recover from it. And then the second picture here is Sienna wearing one of our blindfolds. And the blindfolds are worn by all of the characters in Harper's life that are blind to the situation. So, what I mean by that is, as a parent or as a coach or as a bystander, you might see someone being cyberbullied, but you have like no idea what's going on, because it's such like an intimate bully relationship. It could be happening on someone's computer or phone, and like nobody would know unless the victim decides to speak up about it. And so all the characters that don't know what's going on, they're wearing blindfolds because they truly just don't know what's going on, or they have chosen to ignore the situation. And that's almost like just as important. Like if you choose to be like, oh, I'm not gonna like remember that detail, like that little fact, like no, it's not for me, then it's just putting the blindfold back on. The situation doesn't exist to you anymore. So yeah, and then the one that's not pictured is there is a box, and the box is black, just like all the other ones. And I'm not going to tell you what the box means, because it could mean whatever you think it, like whatever you want it to mean. But I just want you to kind of be thinking about that as you watch the film. So without further ado, it is now time to watch Permanent Words. So, there it was. words just to sum it up. So at the end of the film, the bystander returns to the bench. And like nothing prompts the bystander. The bystander's just like walking by and remembers the encounter that she had. And the first time that the bystander sees the text, she just puts her headphones back in, like walks away. But like, she could have said something, but never did. And when she moves, like, when she goes back to the bench and she's looking at it, and she thinks to herself, like, what could I have done differently? And when the story rewinds and she's in that situation again and she chooses to do different things and she speaks up when she sees the text and she gives words of encouragement and she asks Harper what's wrong, like all of those things she could have done the first time but didn't. And if she had done those things, there's the chance that the entire story could have ended differently. And that goes for the mom and the coach as well. Like, you never know what you're gonna say is gonna make a difference in that moment until you're looking back and you're like, oh shoot, I should have said something. And I think that that's like the truth of the scene is just that. It's like most of the time you're not gonna know if what you say makes a difference. Like most of the time you're just never gonna find out. Like you might think, oh, I could have spoken up, but I didn't. But you're not gonna know if what you say is the reason someone keeps going or what you don't say is the reason that they break. Because the problem in this story is not the bully. It's that the people around her did nothing. So, like the video says, what will you do to be the reason someone keeps going?